Welcome to Monmouth in Focus, a comprehensive look at Monmouth County, the place you want to be. Monmouth County is centrally located in the state with 27 miles of Atlantic Ocean shoreline, nationally recognized parks, state-of-the-art libraries, school systems, and public services. Monmouth County is home to more than 660,000 residents. It's a great place to work and live. Monmouth in Focus will highlight county services that are readily available to you as a Monmouth County resident. Thanks for joining us for Monmouth in Focus. You'll know why Monmouth County is the place you want to be.
Hello and welcome to Monmouth in Focus, a program about the services and functions of Monmouth County government. I'm Cynthia Scott, your host for this segment of Monmouth in Focus. We are here on location today at the Monmouth County Correctional Institution. It is one of the largest county-run facilities in the country, and joining me right now is the Monmouth County Sheriff Shaun Golden. Sheriff, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for hosting us, and welcome to the Monmouth County Correctional Institution.
Thank you so much. Sheriff, the Monmouth County Correctional Institution is run through your agency, the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. Let's start by talking about, what types of inmates are housed here?
Yeah, well, as you know, and you stated in your intro, I mean, this is the largest county facility in the state of New Jersey, one of the largest across the country in terms of county facilities, and we're proud of it in the Sheriff's Office. It's really, truly one of our highlights, and it's well respected and well run in the state of New Jersey. In terms of the inmates that we house here, we have local inmates that come from the county judicial system. We have our state inmates and federal inmates. And the local inmates are those waiting to be sentenced or waiting a trial court, and they stay here for no more than a year, 364 days. Then we move them out to other facilities. So you can spend a day here or in upwards to 5 years, depending on how long you're waiting for sentencing. But once you're sentenced, we move them on to the state facilities.
And again, if they're sentenced to less than a year, they will
do the time here. That's correct. Yep.
You were talking about state inmates as well. State inmates are awaiting trial here, and
a little bit of both. We have state inmates awaiting trial. Sometimes we take overflow from the states if the state institutions are overcrowded. They'll send some inmates this way.
And the federal inmates.
And we have our federal inmates. We do house for federal agencies such as ICE, Immigration and Customs. We house a number of inmates. And the federal and state both pay. When we house their inmates, they give us a per diem rate that we collect as a source of revenue.
Right, a revenue generating
program. We generate revenue here. Last year we did over $12 million in the facility, and it's because of housing those beds. So when you look at a wing such as this, we have to keep the wing open or the pod open, whether there's 5 people or 66 people in it. And so if we have empty beds, much like a hotel, we'll rent them out and count that as a source of revenue. Right.
You mentioned a hotel. This is a 24/7 operation.
This is a city within a city.
Yeah.
Really, this is a large operation. Like I said, it's the largest county jail. We have 1,328 bed capacity here in the facility. Generally, we average anywhere from 1,000 to 1,100 inmates. It's 24/7 operation. I credit that to the entire staff we have here. We have over 381 employees at this facility, and we have 300 corrections officers, 22 sergeants, 10 lieutenants, the warden and deputy warden, and right on down to our 44 civilian personnel that are here. And then we have our private contractors that are here for food service and medical and commissary and the like. So it's it's quite an operation.
Certainly the largest operation within your agency, and perhaps the largest operation within the county.
Yeah, definitely by far.
Yeah.
This is, the Sheriff's Office is one of the larger operations out of all the county divisions, departments, and offices. And, we, as part of that, the Correctional Institution is the largest within the Sheriff's Office. So, and certainly takes a lot of resources to run, but I have to tell you, in being sheriff for the last couple of years, it's tremendous to see the dedication of the staff here, not only the corrections officers and the command staff, but the civilian staff and even the private companies that we hire to come in and run those other operations is a tremendous effort.
Sheriff, I think when people first enter a jail, they have this preconceived notion, right? People behind bars, it's scary. But when people walk in here, I've seen their faces, it's kind of like,
well, you could see it. So we're standing in what is really, like the other pods that we have in the facility. We have a direct supervision model where they have a day room and they have a courtyard, and you see the cells that are behind us. And it's, you know, some of those TV shows that you see are not really depictive of what is going on or what transpires here in our county facility. So on the direct supervision model, the inmates do have some freedoms. Again, they can gather in the day room here, and they can use the courtyard, and then they have their bunk mate and their cells right behind us. And so this is indicative of what's around our entire facility, all, you know, 1,328 beds.
The actual facility, the jail, was built, I believe, sometime around 1970, and then it was remodeled in 1990.
Yeah, the late 80s, and then finished up in 90. We went through a major renovation, which we went to the direct supervision model, increased other areas in the jail, you know, and did some renovations, some much-needed renovations to the Institute.
When it comes to direct supervision, you're saying that the inmates are able to, you know, be out in the pod area, and the corrections officer is as well out with them. What's the goal there?
Well, the goal there is, you know, if you look at other models, linear supervision per se, you know, you have maybe a main hallway with a bunch of rooms, and they're locked, you know, down in the room, and there isn't too much movement. You know, which for rehabilitation purposes, and you know, as it is, we call it a correctional institute for a reason. We like to think that we can rehabilitate as many of those that want to help themselves back into society, and so this gives them a little bit more of a freedom, and it decreases the amount of violence that's in the facility, and you know, increases officer safety. So those are some of the things that we look at in the direct supervision model, and that's what we see here.
Walk us through the process if someone is arrested and they start through booking, I guess.
Right, so generally what happens, and we can take an arrest out in any one of our 53 communities. We have 48 police departments in the county, all of which operate. So if they do make an arrest and somebody's not bailed at the station or released on their own recognizance, they'll be brought here by the police officer. They enter into our booking area through our Sally Port. That's a double cage system, so it's a kind of a lock-in chamber. The car will come in, the gate behind them will lock, and then the gate in front of them will open. And then they'll come into the booking area where all our inmates are searched and screened, and all the information is taken down. And not only screened, you know, by saying just generic personal information, but they'll also get a medical screening and any type of psych screening if it warrants it. So, and then from booking, they come up into a holding area, and hopefully they're not staying that long. We don't want to see people you know, housed up here, but at the end of the day, if they are to stay here, they go into a classification process in which we classify the inmates, and that classification, there's 13 or so classifications, and from nonviolent to violent, gender specific, whether there's some type of illness involved or substance abuse. So those classifications are placed upon the inmate, and then they are moved into locations throughout the facility based on classification.
And obviously the females are in one area, the males
separated.
are in another.
They're segregated. I mean, that's the most obvious classification. We start there, and then work the way down in classification. You know, nonviolent, violent, substance abuse or illness, and then and if they're federal inmates, we house them separately. So
right. So you wouldn't house someone who's in for child support with someone who is charged with murder.
Yep. We spread them out throughout the facility based on classification.
Let's talk about, you talked a little bit about the people that work here, but let's start from the top, the warden.
The warden, let me tell you, the warden and the deputy warden, the way they run this facility, it's done with such professionalism. And the warden, he's come up through the ranks here at the Monmouth County Correctional Institution in the Sheriff's Office. He started in 1987, and he's worked his way up through the ranks, and he's a dedicated individual. And let me tell you, he knows every inch of this facility, and he knows his staff members very well, and you know, some of the inmates. So it's really good to see someone come up through the ranks and run the facility.
Absolutely.
Somebody so knowledgeable in the correctional industry itself, and particularly in this point in time when budget constraints are such that, you know, we're looking at every dollar spent, and we're looking at ways to become more efficiencies, and he always brings new ideas to the table. And so, you know, for him and the deputy warden, Nadrowski, and all the command staff, I really can't say enough about their leadership here.
Underneath the deputy warden would be captains, then lieutenants,
Yeah, we have two
sergeants.
captains, and we have lieutenants, sergeants, and then the officers. We have 300 corrections officers here.
I know that we recently had a graduation of corrections officers.
We did. We did. We had 11 graduate from the Monmouth County Police Academy. We run a correctional class, and that's to fill. You know, we have retirements, and resignations, and so we backfill those spots. We just had 11 graduate. I attended the graduation a couple weeks ago, and it was exciting to see some new recruits come through.
Sure.
And they go through extensive training. They have a 11-week course that they partake in all kinds of training, from paperwork to suicide awareness, baton training, physical training. So really, it's intense. It was intense when I saw the program over there.
Being a corrections officer obviously is not for everyone. It's kind of like being a 911 operator as well,
Right,
just not for
right.
everyone.
Well, that's why I said in all three of my divisions, there's just special individual. I mean,
Right.
the dedication is unbelievable because to work in this environment, much like the communications environment and the challenges that go with it, and then the hours that are put in, and the officers work nights and weekends and holidays, and it's tough for their family members, but it just shows their dedication and how professional they are, particularly in our agency where we're fully accredited. I always commend the staff for their dedication and really their hard work.
Also, when you walk around the jail, you see the inmates working. If they're in the kitchen area preparing lunch or dinner, I mean, they have duties here.
Well, they do. It's an effort to rehabilitate, right? And so part of that rehabilitation process is to get them working, to get them to be productive when they're here. And so you'll see inmates that are walking around the facility that are productive in maintenance. You'll see them in the kitchen area. So they do cleanup. They have assigned tasks in and around the facility, and it makes them, I think, have a little sense of pride in the facility. And as you can see, I mean, we run. People are always amazed. I had some mayors and governing bodies in, and they're always amazed about how clean our facility is. Again, not really what you see on TV. I mean, it's an immaculate, clean facility. Some of that's due to the maintenance staff on the county employees, and then in combination and in concert with the inmate labor that goes into it.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to be talking about the inmate labor program in our next segment of Monmouth in Focus. But thanks so much for joining us for this segment, Sheriff. Lots of great information here about the Monmouth County Correctional Institution. Thank you. That is all the time we have for this segment of Monmouth in Focus. More about the Monmouth County Correctional Institution, you can log on to www.visitmonmouth.com.